showing you what it looks like as we get tropical downpours, and that's going to be the case especially into tonight and into tomorrow, increasing that flood threat. In fact, tomorrow we may get the lion's share of the rain, although we won't be done with it altogether the day after that. So here's a look at the future radar and conditions, what we're expecting here this evening as rain and thunderstorms continue to feed in across the area. A lot of us have already picked up anywhere between an inch to 2.5 inches of rainfall today. We had flood alerts in effect across much of New Orleans and even over into Baton Rouge earlier, and more surges of moisture will come in through the day tomorrow. Notice we have more of an east to southeasterly component to this, so that will be the direction that the storms will be coming from. And whenever you see that red coming in, that's extremely heavy rain. So that's into your Saturday morning before things start to taper off just a little bit more. But rainfall amounts could be very impressive. This is why we're under a flood watch here. And you know, New Orleans is particularly vulnerable to flooding because you're below sea level. You got to rely on those pumps to pump that water out, and they can handle an inch the first hour, then a half of an inch every hour after that, till you get up to 5 inches. And 5 inches isn't out of the question here. In fact, it couldn't rule out some double-digit rainfall in some parts of southeastern Louisiana potentially before all is said and done out of this event. So a really good example of how it doesn't necessarily take a tropical system to bring tropical-like impacts. So expect those heavy downpours continuing. It's going to be umbrella weather. It's get the galoshes out. Does anybody wear galoshes anymore? I don't even know. Rain boots anyway, right? But notice that the best chance of getting any flooding here is southeastern Louisiana through tomorrow morning. That includes New Orleans. That includes, you know, areas over towards Baton Rouge and all the way down towards the Gulf Coast here, but still possible. Lake Charles, Alexandria, stretching over towards Mobile. Anywhere we get these heavy downpours, we're going to be vulnerable because the ground's already pretty soggy here brewing. We're going to have more storms heading into parts of Florida. I'm standing virtually in Miami, and this is what conditions may look like as we go into next week. I know it doesn't look too bad out there right now, and temperatures, you know, you see 90 degrees for a high and you think, it could be worse, right? Well, the feels like temperature is 105 right now in Miami with a 90-degree temperature on the thermometer. So these thunderstorms that are going to be coming will bring some relief, at least temporarily, while that happens. Now, we've got our frontal boundary across parts of the north. We also have our disturbance that's in the northwestern Gulf. That's all going to be bringing this moisture towards us into northern parts of the state, especially through the day tomorrow. Can't rule out a few hit and miss showers and thunderstorms down here into South Florida, but most of the action is going to be happening up towards the north, and that will be the case as we go into your Saturday as well as into your Sunday. So keep that in mind, that things are going to be a little unsettled here dodging the storms. But we've had a lot of rain, especially along the I-4 corridor, kind of straddling that area north and south. Tampa in particular with record rainfall this week. So our ground is pretty saturated, and it's not good to get a lot of tropical moisture coming in when the ground's already pretty full from having a lot of rainfall. So the stall front will keep us unsettled and active. But as we go into early next week, we've got that tropical disturbance, which is over towards the Leeward Islands right now, which will enhance and come in and bring that additional moisture. So that means things could be a little stormy here as we go into next week. So Monday and Tuesday looking more unsettled for South Florida, and that will continue into your Wednesday. Now, the models are showing us, for the most part, rainfall totals could be up to an inch for South Florida, while 1 to 3 would be more expected across central parts of the state. The GFS model would agree that maybe up to an inch for South Florida, but there could be some extra enhancement up here over towards Daytona Beach, where a few folks could get in on 3 to 5 inches of rainfall in next week. Welcome back to Storm Center. Every day at this time, we take a moment to look ahead to tomorrow's trouble spots tonight, and stormy times expected across parts of the Ohio Valley and into the Great Lakes. Our potent cold front will be working its way across the region. This will be affecting places like Detroit, into Cleveland, into Columbus, even into Cincinnati. Now, some of the storms could reach severe limits. I don't think everybody will end up with severe weather across this area, but some of the storms could be producing some damaging wind. There might be some marginally severe hail to go along with that, but a very low tornado threat. And so notice this includes much of Ohio. It does stretch down into parts of the Louisville area, especially into the afternoon and evening hours. So notice some of the moisture is pretty limited. We've had much drier, cooler air across the region, but we'll squeeze out enough from the Great Lakes along with a little tap into the Gulf of Mexico as well. And notice that the thunderstorms becoming a little bit more widespread as we head towards the 4 or 5 o'clock hour. They're scattered across the region and not really showing a lot of signs of a ton of organization, but here and there we'll get a little bit on the intense side. As we head into your Saturday morning, this moves into interior parts of the Northeast. Now, our upper low and the surface low that's going to be combined with all this will bring in some gusty winds, and that's going to be despite any of the thunderstorms that do develop. So just know on the roadways, I-75 as well as I-70 could have some slowdowns as a result.